Welcome to Keep the Hotel Empty. Today we've kept the hotel empty for Josh Frato, the man, the myth, the front man, the powerhouse of spiritual chaos. Welcome,
yes.
sir.
Thank you so much. This is really cool. I've wanted to do this kind of thing for a while.
I'm super stoked to have you here. I know you've been like on the radar and in the K.
On the radar is good. I like that actually.
Yeah, you've been.
If you heard of me, then that's cool.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So I want to get to spiritual chaos and and I actually want to touch on the how to sound like your favorite teddy bear video because that was too damn good. And
listen, that thing right now is sitting at 725,000 views. It's insane. We will touch on that for sure.
Yeah. So I want to build up to how one gets to make such a prolific video. But ceremoniously, what we do here is press rewind. So I want you to press rewind and kind of paint me the picture of what it's like in life when music starts to hit you and feel like, hey, this is something that's resonating with me.
All right. So it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a pretty start. You know, most people, I think, go to music to escape life. So I came up from a pretty rough upbringing. Not that, parents and everything are, they've been forgiven long time ago, but, it's not always like the best upbringing that people go through.
Right.
Anyway, so music, for the most part, is an escape. And back then, I couldn't really understand how to, work through my anger and work through those kind of, really toxic emotions, especially as a 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old who doesn't understand the complications behind divorce and this and that and all the other really gray areas of where life takes you.
Right.
And especially all the past traumas that your parents gone through and then those parents have gone through and then just pretty much generational trauma being put onto the next generation of the youth. Anyway, so trying to escape things. My first discoveries of that kind of music was probably through my friend Cody, who I am still friends to this day.
Shout out to the Codys.
Love you, Cody. And he introduced me to a band called The Offspring, as well as Linkin Park. And this would be, I met him when I was 5 years old, and he was 3. And then as we grew up, he introduced me to this music. We were playing Metal Gear Solid.
Nice.
Listening to Linkin Park, playing Tekken, and going, man, what is this crazy stuff? And then I was more into the rap world of things. So your Eminem, Dr. Dre, just all those.
Stuff that was really huge at that time,
huge,
too.
Popular. Nelly at the time, too, because I'm a lot older within that generation. But I had a friend, his name's Casey, and he was really into the darker stuff. So it wasn't a gradual how you have your gateway bands who bring you into rock or whatever. I went straight into deathcore and stuff like that. So he introduced me to Lamb of God and Cradle of Filth. And I was like, what the absolute first off, can I curse?
Yeah,
okay.
You're free.
What the fuck is this? This is insane. This is this scares me.
Especially early Randy Blythe that.
I mean, you're talking about the most goth kind of also, Randy Blythe as well, because got a whole story about that. That's really cool. But Cradle of Filth is what really scared the hell out of me because I was like, how's this dude doing what he's doing? And he's all makeup and everything. And it was just the most, and now, I pull heavy inspiration from them. But seeing him born in a burial gown where he's and he's
exactly.
Way up there with his highs, I'm like, nah, bro. And then so as I am trying to escape life, I'm playing World of Warcraft religiously. I'm in high school. And my playlist just starts becoming less rap and more, what are these bands? And then I find on YouTube, Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, and all these bands that just really was the gateway. That was the gateway for me to understand oh, there's here's something I can use to, or rather, that really just explains my anger. It was an outlet for something I had no words for. So that aggression and that anger that I felt as a teenager, and that was the only outlet I had at the moment at that point, at growing up. So it'd be going to school all day, hating my life, going home, playing WoW all day, but listening to heavy metal. And then that was just how
So for the people that don't understand exactly what that kind of, I don't want to say finding your home, but that kind of when heavy music starts to resonate with you, when you're already feeling some type of angst, some types of feeling that you're trying to escape from, like you said. When you can listen to heavy metal music, for a lot of people on the outside of that world, it seems like that would be the antithesis of trying to let you find some relief. Be like, God, why you want to listen to someone scream when you feel? Talk to me a little bit about what it was like when you first started to feel like that. Describe to me, I guess, the feelings when you started to feel the relief from something that seemed like this wouldn't provide relief.
So I think that there's an untapped darkness in all people that I can now understand at 34 versus when I was 14, 15 years old. That it's sort of like how people can even like relive traumatic experiences to try to work through them. So when you're experiencing that frustration and that anger, and you're able to really just immerse yourself in it, you're able to really just like, you're able to like relieve yourself of that burden of all that aggression and those toxic feelings that you would have inside of you. And that is what music does for me in all of that realms, especially vocals, because that's what I do, scream at stuff. And when you're able to really work through that, like obviously, you're angry, you want to listen to like calmer stuff, and maybe that is the case for some people, but not everybody works the same way. We are all different for our own various reasons, own upbringings, and sometimes this works for one person that doesn't work for the other. Of
course.
Well, it just happens that heavy music and aggression and all those type of things resonate with me, and I'm a pretty cool, calm, peaceful guy. But like, there's that side of me too, like a tap darkness that I'm able to like really get myself into versus like other people where they would want to go, hey, I'm having a really rough day. I'm gonna put on like Bon Jovi, or I'm gonna put on whatever, or some like Rasta music or something like that. But then it's like, no, I'm turning it on to, turning it up to 11. I'm going to just go, I want to hear some disgusting toll bowl noises, something that really just resonates with how I'm feeling. And then at the end of the day, once I've gone through that, it's like a workout. You work out, you go through this intense physical training or whatever, and then out comes a calmer version of you.
Right. And that's kind of the thing that I'm curious about, because it seems strange, and I've been to a lot of heavy shows, and I'm generally the guy dressed in black too, so just a little disclosure, I can relate to that part. But it's like finding that you can go through exercising those negative emotions in kind of surrounding yourself in it is a unique experience.
It is, and I don't think it's one that, when you look at like, this is not music for the masses. This is stuff that I feel only certain kinds of people who've gone through some shit will really truly understand and resonate with. Because like I've always said this, and I firmly believe it. It's like, you don't listen to this music because you're okay. You listen to this music because something fucked up in your life happened, and like most people, why are they so screaming? Why is it so this and loud and whatever? Like all the stereotypical answers that you get from heavy music.
Right.
But like, I don't think anybody is really listening to this is like super just like, yeah, Billy Bo job, whatever. Just you got through some shit, and this helps you become.
It almost helps you become Billy Bob, like in your own way, your own way of it.
It's literally it's working out through all those things. But what I love about like metal, and because I go to a lot of shows too, right, and in that whole realm of just all of that kind of stuff, is just the connection of we all share this common interest, which is we're all hurting, in some way, shape, or form, and we're all here to see this band, and we're all here, whatever. But that familiarity of darkness that we all share with this music is something I think is, the unification of like all of us, and like where we can understand that versus like somebody who's just like half the people walking around here in Sarasota on retirement, they're never going to understand this kind of darkness.
No, that's why people had a hemorrhage when Poppy was on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever.
Oh my goodness. That was awesome.
Yeah. So you're getting to the point now where you're able to start to resonate with something that was a little bit new to you. Your playlist is starting to transition into more heavy things. Mm-hmm. How long before you start to think to yourself, this is something I want to try to do?
That's a great question. I think at the end of my high school year, which was either 2009 or 2010, I had started, so it went from like Offspring punk music to new metal to extreme like death metal, deathcore, and then I fell in love with metalcore. Like I fell in love with the aspect of having all these elements into one as music, and that was the thing. So in 2010, I heard of a band, like for the very first time. They came up on Spotify, and it was All That Remains, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing to me. And it was literally, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years after The Fall of Ideals, which is arguably the greatest metalcore album ever, top 5 for absolutely for certain. And but I think it's top. So favorite band, favorite vocalist, all of that. And I was able to connect with him in so many ways and shapes and forms that I was like, I want to be able to sound like that. I want to be able to scream and sing. And then I eventually had the opportunity to do so with my very first band, which was Chamber the Cartridge, which I did with my friend Cody. And
Cody coming in clutch again.
Yeah, for sure. Every moment of my life, he always comes in clutch. He's literally the best, one of the best people I know. And that whole sound of just All That Remains, Kill Switch, I'm drawing a blank on other bands. As I Lay Dying, even with all the controversy around Tim Obesis, you can't argue that he didn't have some way, like he had a huge impact on metalcore.
Yeah, at that time for sure.
Especially since he wrote a lot of it, from my understanding. And like he has a unique voice. They really pioneered the whole scream sing thing. Like with oh my gosh, what's his name? Josh something. He's now the bassist in Spirit Box.
Oh,
but he used to be the bass, and every metalcore singer is trying to sound like Josh. So those bands really sold it for me. Like, man, this is something I think I want to try to do and emulate. So I tried to sound like the tough guy voice and this and that. And of course I was doing it completely incorrectly. And then there was no teachers. There was nothing. There was one DVD out there. It was Melissa Cross, The Scent of Screaming. And that was it. There was no information. Everyone that you love that's an inspiration has had to figure it out through experimentation, and then maybe even lost their voice at one point in time.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough that when I started doing it wrong, I researched and I looked at like, how am I going to do this and then be good at it and then also keep a voice? And I looked at the whole Melissa Cross thing and I started doing that, but you know, it's a skill. It's a talent.
And she's a name that had taught somebody like Matt Heafy or somebody, right?
The literally everyone that you can probably think of in 2010 to 2015, all those vocalists, Under Oath, All That Remains, Lamb of God, just everybody and anybody, they know who Melissa Cross is.
Right, okay, that's why I thought I recognized that name.
Yeah, and she had a DVD out there with all the artists that she was helping and assisting or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you're thinking to yourself, I want to try to sing and scream.
I want to try to, well, I still need help in the singing department for sure.
But this was the idea. Yeah, this was the spark.
For sure. This was the spark that really made me go. It was mainly the fact that my friend Cody needed a vocalist at the time. And I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. And we did good for a little while. And then the band fell apart, unfortunately. And moving on into life and everything. And just, I still kept trying to do it. Because like, I was like, this is not something I want to give up on. This is fun. This is also an outlet for me. This is the thing, you know, that I'm like super hell-bent on trying to figure out and trying to do.
And you had already identified it was helping you be a better person overall? Or this was still kind of getting your bearings on that? I
think it was getting my bearings as well. I do think that other bands that also had a huge influence that I forgot to mention were like In Flames, and Dark Tranquillity and stuff like that, where there were certain emotive sounds that they were also making that was like helping me be able to heal from what I was like going through at the time. And I think all those experiences have shaped me into becoming a better person as of like today. I know not to do the things I did in the past, you know?
Right.
But I guess I may have misunderstood your question.
Well, I mean, you know, because you said that it's an outlet for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that will pursue things for clout, or it's a matter of just
I don't give two shits
going through the motions, or I just want to be good at something.
Yeah.
I'm more curious when you started to be able to feel it as an outlet for you, when you started to identify that this was something that was benefiting me, like you mentioned before, like going to the gym would. This is a way to better myself incrementally, and I get to enjoy it and all this other stuff.
For sure, for sure. I think it's just like one of those things that when people are like driving from, going to work or whatever, and they're singing in the car, they're just trying to like get out of their head. And so when it comes to vocals and screaming along to music and stuff like that, it can definitely bring down tension and all the stresses from the day or from whatever, or even just to tap into that emotive feeling that you have that's going on. And at the end of the day, like after, good workout or whatever, like you feel calmer. So you're not going to be super tensed up when somebody's like says something to you in a way that you don't like or whatever, right? You've then de-stressed, and so in turn, yes, you do essentially become like better at that moment as a person or whatever from that.
Was the catharsis aspect of it
too, yeah.
Was the catharsis aspect of it something that became obvious to you in band one?
That is a good question. I don't necessarily think so, mainly for the fact that I was doing it out of enjoyment of doing it. And then I don't think it was until, because I've had 3 bands total. One was Chamber the Cartridge, and the second was Sanctum with my friend James, who's in Wire Throne actually, James Harper. And I think it was actually after all of that when I started really like it was for fun, it was cool, it was a therapeutic thing, but I didn't really think anything of it until I started like growing up in my like later 20s and being like, this is still the thing that I want to do. But now it's for a different kind of reason. Now it's because of, and like then I didn't know it was for like therapy. It just made me feel good. I wanted to do it.
Right.
But like when I look back at it in hindsight, in my early 20s, still continuing to do it, 4 years later after the second band, and still, no music career or anything going on at the moment. Still doing it, like it started becoming more part of my life and about me expressing my character as a person as well. And just being angry all the time.
So you get through band one, you're starting to try to find more outlets, and you're getting inspirations like Phil from...
well, there's 2 different Phils.
Yeah.
You got Phil Labonte from All That Remains and Phil Bozeman of Whitechapel.
Right. So you're starting to get those influences. When do you turn the point where you're not roaching your voice, you don't feel like you're just
that's a good question.
Doing it for fun, and now you're starting to find what is your footing?
Like to find my own unique voice and all that as well. I think it was probably a whole lot later. So starting 2010, it's called 2010 for the easy math. So probably like 8 years later. Like it was really that long ago. Like I was always trying to sound like those vocalists, but always with the goal in mind to sound like myself.
Right.
And again, there's no information out there of how to do this. No one, false chord and fry vocals. What is that? What does that even mean? And then to learn even later on that it's all connected in this weird way, and it's like super simple definitions for really complex answers. And it doesn't fit the thing. So I can go from to like and like do all sorts of stuff. And it's not going to it's not the same vocal kind of style. But how do I get my voice to be in all of that, but by trying to sound like these guys? And the more I try to sound like them and then figure out what they're doing, I can start putting my own voice in it. But it took me a long time to figure that out. Like,
so how long do you think it was before, or what was the magic point for you? I think for a lot of people that do heavy vocals and don't crest the point where they stop roaching their voice, it's because they can't identify the feeling.
Oh, I identified it early. And this is probably why it took me forever.
No, I don't necessarily mean the feeling of roaching your voice. Yeah. I mean the feeling of how to do it and not roach your voice. And I feel like a lot of the techniques become sort of anomalous to describe because we're describing feelings. And until you can relate your body to that, you instinctively keep roaching your voice.
For sure.
So what do you think helped you turn that corner?
A lot of practice. A lot of just straight realizing when the error was occurring, stop. Like it was so watching that Melissa Cross DVD, you know, if it hurts, then you're doing it wrong. And I always factor that in. Like if it's hurting, and of course you have to like build into it and you create, you know, muscle memory and you build up on all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
How much of that is muscle memory and building versus actual damage to your voice? And through my own experience, every time that I felt like, you know, the scratchy, itchy part of my throat where it's like I swallow, I'm like, okay, maybe you should stop, or my voice gets tired. Like I would lose my voice sooner now talking too much than screaming.
Right.
Because of all that. Like, but to put that, like, sorry, I'm just really trying to think of like when that moment was that I figured that out. But it was essentially through like a course of just practice, like how you would play a piano or any of that kind of stuff. You just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, but you learned to pay attention to the signs of when that stuff is happening and then take immediate action. So once my voice started becoming sore or once I started feeling the scratchiness, I knew I was doing it incorrectly. And I had to go give myself time, come back to it later. But practice every once in a while.
So the discipline's a big aspect of it.
It's a huge thing. Like you might not be able to figure out a certain tone or sound. Like I didn't start doing the whole like false chord vocal thing up until joining the band I'm in now, which is crazy to think about. Because like, and now that's primarily what I go to and start using, which is that like shout vocal, you know. I didn't know how to do that for over a decade, but then I figured it out and I was like, holy crap, like it just connect. Like I was trying to sound like Ben Dior from Shadow of Intent with one of his things. We did this like, and I was like, holy crap. Like he was like up in this range and like in a weird position right now, but like, right? And like figuring out where the placement was in my vocal cord and be like, oh my God, I can do that now. But I was like always stressing and trying to like tense up and that kind of stuff. But it's a lot smoother and a lot easier than what people think. Like you should just be able, oh, actually that's wrong. There we go. Like
that's like that's projecting from a lower spot in your...
Exactly. It's not actually your vocal cords. Like you're not supposed to be doing it from that area. You should be doing it like in this area right here. At least that's for me. Like how some people can do different things because their anatomy and stuff. But like from their actual voice, this is where I'm talking from is not where I scream from. You know, like you can learn to include that tone eventually in like your screams. So like into your screams.
That's where you can get a little pitch inflection then.
Yeah, but like for the most part, you're wanting to start at that bass, just like kind of thing, right? Whereas like now, I can get all sorts of places that I was not able to do even a year ago. Like just the consistent practice and recognizing when the error is occurring and stopping so you don't further damage yourself.
Right, I guess that's a big operative part. The discipline to pump the brakes. So then a little deviation, that begs the question, how do you handle resting your voice? Especially when you're learning.
Oh man, that's whew. Okay, so when you're learning, definitely it's like a buildup, like an avalanche, I think. The more technical you start getting, as far as like the more you do it. So like you could do it 15, 20 minutes, you'll be fine. Especially when you're like learning or whatever. Like you're probably wanting to not do it more than that anyway. You're still trying to understand your own body. Like most people don't even understand their own body regardless. Like, so this is a side note, but I used to train MMA for like 5+ years or whatever. And most people don't know how to move their leg in a certain way or whatever, you know? They just don't know how to pivot in certain movements and same thing with your voice. Like you don't know how to do certain things. Like you just talk, but you don't understand like the actual intricacies of what that muscle memory entails in everything. So like I can just scream off the bat and people go like, that's why that dumb video that I made went so viral. Like it's literally just me going, you want to sound like a bear and then and like I can just do it. Other people are like, how, dude? Like, how? It's just because I've been doing it for so long and building up that muscle memory that's where I'm at now. I can just do it.
Right.
But for somebody who's just starting, they're not going to be able or nor capable of being able to just pivot their foot in a certain direction or change their voice in a certain way or get into that space that most people don't even understand how to get into in the first place. So I would recommend, if you're trying to start doing this kind of stuff, give yourself time. It is not an overnight thing. It's not an over a month thing. It's not an over a year thing. It takes fucking forever to figure out. There's obviously truly talented ones out there who can figure it out quick. But like for most people, like myself, it took well over a decade to really understand like the intricacies of what goes on when it comes to like aggressive vocals.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the big misnomers about it, that, you know, doing heavy vocals is just like you just open your mouth and start screaming, that there is no technique to it.
That's so funny because I have people at work now, they start seeing my videos and they've seen everything else that's going on. They're like, how do you not lose your voice, man? Are you like, I'm like, dude, yeah, I can do that all day. Like I mean, not that I should, but because eventually all things will wear down.
Yeah, right. There's a limit.
Yeah. But like I can scream all day. Like it just is what it is. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say on that other than like they come up to me asking it all the time. Like it's literally an all the time thing.
So then I guess let's backtrack a little bit to band 2. Are you recognize that there's a technique to this as you're going through band 2, progressing up to Spiritual Chaos?
Yeah.
Are you thinking to yourself, man, I'm still off the mark, and you're just plowing?
So band 2 I think was in 2012, which is a very long time ago.
Yeah. Feels like forever ago for sure.
For real. It's so weird because it feels like it's both a very long time ago and like just yesterday.
Right.
Which
yeah.
is like the duality of everything in life.
Yeah, sure.
Which
sure.
is a huge thing in my life that I started recognizing. But that's off topic. But band 2, I started trying to do vocals the correct way and ended up noticing that I sound like shit. Like this is not working. This is not a vocal fry technique. I'm just sounding like a fucking wah wah wah. Like how do I get wah 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 to be hey? Like how do I get it to be that? And stuff like that. And well, I got kicked out of that second band, which is, you know, no issue here now, but
yeah.
at the time it was then.
Yeah,
but I 100% agree with their decision. Like at the time, like I sucked and I wasn't that good and I wasn't projecting and I wasn't getting the everything that I needed to be as a vocalist and front man or whatever to like, I couldn't do it. I wasn't fit for the job. So, that didn't deter me. I mean, it did a little bit, but I still kept going. Like, no matter what, like, failure to me wasn't an option. It still isn't. Like, even with Spiritual Chaos or any other project I might entertain, like, in the future if I get offered or whatever. But that was not a deterrent for me to stop. I just figured out, Josh. You'll, like, just like everything in life, you'll figure it out. Like, you had a rough upbringing, you've been through worse, so what? Like, it's not the worst thing that you've ever experienced in your life, getting kicked out of a band. So,
do you have a lot the mentality that every day of your life trained you for what you're doing right now? Is that something that doesn't get too far from your brain?
For sure. I think I approached life in a really weird way, honestly. Like, it's not, I'm appreciative of everything that I'm in, and that I appreciate you inviting me out, or, you know, answering my email, like, and having me on. So, but I don't necessarily take things for granted. Like, and I find that, or if I phrase that around, I don't take things for granted. And an experience like that back in 2012, I wasn't able to fully understand at the time, but I can now. It's just being able to go back and really review my life and see where the self-reflection of like all the fucked up shit that I've gone through, and even with my parents' divorce early on in my life and all the traumatic experiences that I had to go through with that, on top of failed relationships and a previous failed marriage and all this other stuff. It just really, now in like the last 10 years, I've really been able to be a lot more self-critical and more reflective and appreciative in an outsider's like third eye perspective. Like, I almost see my own life in a third person view and living in the first person view as well. It's just a weird limbo of like how I see things.
And you took some of the words of my next question right out of my mouth, because that begs the question: when you're in the band that you get fired from, or however you want to put it, that you leave, and
I definitely got fired.
and you have to have that self-reflection moment. As a vocalist, it's one of those things where you can't help but be somewhat vulnerable. There's nowhere to hide. It's your fucking voice. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So when you have to have these moments where you have to be, for no other way of putting it, self-critical, and you have to be real about what you're going to do if you're going to make any kind of progress, how do you handle those moments? Because that's a lot of the point, I feel like, where people will fold, or it's tough to be real honest with yourself. What do you think gives you the ability to be self-critical in a way that you've been able to turn into progress?
So I think that mentality started like applying to my life, because all of it before the moment of my divorce, like from my previous marriage, all of that stuff, I feel, was just literally a really weird episode of growing the fuck up in a really messed up way. And then all of a sudden, like, I went through this traumatic life experience that, you know, half the fucking country, in fact, more than half the country experiences. Like, it sucks to go through a divorce, but you know what? Like, 52% or whatever it is, like, it's a 50 number. Like, half the people are going to experience it, like, regardless. And it is one of the most fucked up feelings you could ever feel, because like your self-worth, your value of like who you are as a person, you invested so much into this other person. Next thing you know, now it's gone from underneath your feet. What the, like, so I went into a lot of like self-help type of things. I found Jordan Peterson. I mean, politics and everything aside, it's not it's not my cup of, I don't care to even argue that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, same.
If you go and you look at the philosophies of what he was teaching with everything, I read his like first book, or not like Maps of Meaning, but like the other one, 12 Steps.
Yeah.
And that helped me so much by just like starting to like really look at myself through a magnifying glass and going, what fucked up shit that went on in my life was my responsibility, and then what wasn't, and then I still had the responsibility of being able to take what happened to me and make it my own with how I want to do with it. So if I went through some fucked up shit, which I have, like, how am I going to respond to it? I can go shooting up heroin and stuff, you know, like I could do that, or I can go rob people or whatever, but like, that's just, or
the race to the bottom's available.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but like I could go do those very things, but like at the end of the day, like that's not where I wanted to be. That's not what I want to do. So I just decided, like, you know what, enough's enough. You eventually come to a point where you go, enough's enough. You're going to either change or you're not. And I've been seeing such a negative, toxic environment of how I grew up in. And both my brother and I feel like tried to escape that as much as we can. I mean, I have other siblings and stuff, and unfortunately, I feel like they're caught up in that environment still. But like my brother and I had enough of it, and so we both went our ways of how we wanted to experience life. And I do think that when that divorce of mine happened, my brother was in my life and helping encourage me. And he's always been in my life, and I love him to absolute fucking death. And he's always been the one as well to help me. So I did have a support system, and the only support system I had was really my brother. And he wants to see me succeed, and I want to make him proud as well. Because like my father wasn't at all really in my life, and then when he was, it wasn't very nice.
Right.
And my mother also grew up as a damaged individual, because I forget both of them long time ago, but like what they went through affected me in such a way, and that's where the whole music thing came up and everything else. But to have him, and then martial arts, jiu-jitsu, MMA, just all of that kind of stuff, really just honed in the discipline, like the mental discipline. Like, I may not look it now, but I used to be more fit. Now I feel like a chunker. But man, like it's so funny because COVID, of course, and then like I started going back to my older like bad ways of playing video games all the time and not working out and doing this and doing that and still doing vocals, but like not nearly as whatever. But that was a whole weird blur of life as well.
Right, but the framework of the fruits of discipline had been
had been established at that moment when I was going through my divorce, and it was like, all right, I don't want to. What do I do in my life? I'm literally, it's an open road for me. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I turn around? Like where do I want to go from here?
What a weird moment, yeah.
It is a really weird moment because I can recall like I remember being served the papers I used to live in Temple Terrace, being served the papers and then going, this is official. like this is crazy. Like, this whole life of mine is now a blank slate. What do I want to make of it? And in hindsight, I felt like I've made the best possible decisions that I can, given, the circumstances I was under. So going from that and then doing a traveling job for a while and traveling poker dealer, and then going into then doing a home job and then starting to do all the training and then finding my wife, running into her at a concert, which is funny because the last episode you had, oh my God, I hate that I don't remember his name. Lou, yes, Lou from Discord Theory. So he said this because I watched it yesterday, and he said finding the love of your life at a concert.
Yeah.
Which I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, October 3rd of 2018 at Trivium.
Nice.
I met my wife. First day I got my tattoo, my very first tattoo as well. And it's just weird how it's like you go back and you start like seeing life in this like hindsight kind of way, and you go, damn, I'm grateful that like I decided I wanted to go try to meet Matt Heafy, and so did my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, right? And then us two running in together, and then us then running into my now lead guitarist at a Walmart 2.5 years later. So like had I never met my wife, I would have never met Anthony either, So
how much easier is it for you now to look at whatever you do experience as turbulence as something that you might end up being grateful for, being that you've had such a significant relationship with that scenario?
I think when you go through some shit, these things don't bother you as much, So like little pesky shit doesn't bother you as much. Or
Right.
It's more of like the gnat who keeps flying around your head that just won't go away. But like it's not a big deal, but it's annoying. But like the situation that you're in, it's annoying, but is it a big deal? No. Are you dead? No, you're not. You're still, you're above ground. You can change it. And it is a more like power-driven kind of like mentality. Like not everybody can do it, but honestly, everybody can. They're like, it's crazy what you can actually go through in the physical and mental sense when you have no other choice.
Right.
Like, that's what I love so much about jiu-jitsu. Like, you don't have a choice to be thinking about your ex or the situation you're in. Somebody's trying to choke you out. Somebody's trying to like actually hurt you. I mean, in the sense, but like
Yeah.
you're participating in a physical, violent altercation, mutual, obviously.
Yeah.
Mutually agreed upon. But like you're both trying to go for each other's throats, and especially if you ever compete, which I don't or I never have. But like you don't have the opportunity to think about those other things. So when you don't have the opportunity, it's no longer a thought in your head. You just have to focus on alleviating whatever the problem is and working through it.
So do you think some of the value from that, or maybe one of the lessons you took from that might have been different at that point, was trying to help not only discipline, but actually being forced to live in the moment?
Yeah, for sure. I could tell you I put my phone down during concerts. I don't really record them or take too many pictures anymore. Aside from the whole photography thing that I do. But I really start appreciating moments as moments because of just life in general and the stuff that I've gone through.
Yeah. Well, let's backtrack to going through unceremoniously being fired from band 2. Okay? So what's the gap? What's the road like between band 2 and when you start to formulate spiritual chaos and you start to think, I'm getting back on this horse in a little different way this time?
More than a decade, I can tell you that. There's a whole decade plus of time in between the two bands.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So 2012 was when I'm assuming it was 2012, but it was in that time frame. No later than 2014. But from there, and then I met a girl, and then life, and then spiritual chaos. But like music never left me. So it was always something that I've always wanted to do. And I think that's also why the whole man, the myth, the legend thing, and like you notice it. Like I've been putting in work, and I've been trying to, like, hey, you're going to know me if not. Like it's crazy. Like just a year ago, like not having nearly as many people recognize me as they do now. Like
Yeah.
I get recognized pretty often now.
I feel like it was sort of coincidental, like when we started the podcast seemed like when you were first starting to pick
Yeah.
up on things. So I was constantly on our social media, not like I'm not now.
Yeah.
But like I was always starting to see your stuff. So I've watched your stuff build throughout our building as well too. So
No, it's really cool because I've been watching your development with your podcast as well, and it gets better and better every single episode. But to take it back, like through all that time, it was just it's weird because it's a blur and it wasn't. Like if I really sit back and I literally think about all the stuff that I've gone through in that time frame.
yeah, it was a big chunk of time.
You're talking, well over a decade of time. So like, what did you do? Well, I mean, I didn't want to, but I essentially abandoned music and vocals. Like I don't play instruments or anything, but like I would scream and sing in the car when I can, those little micro doses of practice or whatever to try and get better at something that I wanted to be good at.
Keep that voice in the back of your head a little bit at bay.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's one of those things that just pokes at you all the time until you address it. Like don't give up on the thing that you want to do, because like at the end of the day for me, it was a fucking divorce. So like I had given up the thing, and honestly, like the person who's going to be there for you, wants you to see you flourish, like my wife, like I can't tell you the amount of sacrifices that she has made just so that I can achieve this silly little dream of mine, which is to try to be a frontman of a metal band and then to be touring and to gain notoriety, not to be famous or anything, but just because I have a voice and I have an art and I know I'm good. Like I know I'm good at it. And like I want people to hear that. I want people to see it, and they can have their freaking opinions or whatever, but at the end of the day, it is something that has been with me and that I need to get out, and that I try to get out as often as I can.
Well, and talk to me a little bit, but let's deviate just a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about the feeling of being able to share that, because when you can say things like I'm not doing it to be famous, you're doing it for a different reason.
Oh, for sure,
it's a feeling.
It is a feeling, because like it's just the ability of being able to like connect to people, and I've always had like this desire, I guess, in a way, but not necessarily like super pinpoint desire, but like, oh man, you're going through some shit. How can I help you though? Like a hospitality kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've always had this term in the back of my head ever since I heard it, and I don't even remember where I heard it from. It might have been Jordan Peterson, honestly, or whatever. But like when you add value to other people's lives, they will in turn add value to yours in some way, shape, or form, whether it be immediately or whether it be 2 years from now. Or whether it be a decade from now. Oh, I remember this guy, like, hey, no, let him in or whatever, like, or any kind of stuff. And so I always try to make sure that I do that, because one, I genuinely give two shits about the person in front of me, like
Big number one right there.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can't fake being genuine. And I think that's why people tend to appreciate me, is because like, yeah, you might be the weird kid, and I'm going to let you know you're a fucking weird kid, but guess what? Like you're cool. And you're recognized. You have my attention. You are worth somebody's time. You're worth my time right now, at least. Like you're worth something. And I want people to understand that. And I do this mainly though for the selfish reason it's for me. Like it is so that I can try to heal the 9-year-old kid or the 4-year-old who went through some traumatic fucking shit. And let him know, like, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay, And a byproduct of me healing myself, and, it's a constant struggle in that sense. It's weird because, like, I'm approaching it from two different mentalities now. Like, I have the appreciation aspect of the third eye point of view of being able to see this shit in hindsight in 2020. And then I have this person who's feeling that still. But, like, at what point does it switch over where it's no longer this weird balance, and now it's like it teeter-totters or whatever, and so now it's I can appreciate and see those experiences, whereas like now I'm still screaming, and I'm still doing these things, but I'm doing them to help other people who are going through either similar or even worse shit than me.
Right. Yeah, it's almost when like that the third person one becomes the curator of the first person experience.
And I think the whole point of the being in the band thing and wanting to be a frontman is to help people understand that, like, life sucks. It really does. I mean, we have a whole EP called Desolate Dreams that I wrote all of that kind of stuff about my struggle after the divorce of contemplating, not being here anymore.
Right.
And those are normal thoughts. I think it's okay. Like, I think it's okay to think that, what if I wasn't here anymore? But at the end of the day, like, what? You're going to go and do that, and then you take away, like, kill off yourselves in the way of what you don't like.
Right.
Like, if you don't like something about yourself, you have the ability and the strength to change it. And I just think that we get so tunnel visioned and wrapped up into the negative viewpoint because it's negative. Like, think about the news. Think about everything else that goes on in life. And then, like, the focus is always on the negative stuff, but it's not of the guy who, saved a child's life who was drowning or something, like, or any of that kind of stuff. You always see the negative stuff.
It's true. Let me ask you a little bit of an aside. How do you manage your intake media diet?
Oh my God.
Are you one of those kind of people that's like, don't show me the fucking car crash?
Yeah. Like, my wife will sometimes, just because, like, man, I have a really, like, messed up sense of thought because, MMA, I'm always thinking, like, the worst case scenario. But, like, really, it's weird living on the limbo of that, like, worst case scenario, but enjoying life.
You're right.
Like, it's, especially being, like, the protector, like, in the relationship. Like, I have my wife, we have my stepdaughter, her daughter. And so I have to watch out for them, and I have to think about the worst case scenarios at certain points. But then I also have to be on the counterbalance of that, like enjoying things, which it's a weird thing. And I think most protectors in the relationship will understand that. And I do need you to repeat the question one more
So do
time.
you find regulating your media diet
media diet, that's right.
helps
Yeah, because all the negativity.
Yeah, because that kind of helps navigate which side of that coin you're going to cater to.
For sure. I had to...
Or it can influence it.
Yeah. The problem that with me and media right now is the fact that I'm trying to get the band places. And so I'm trying to get it in front of faces. And I try to regulate as much as I can, like how much I spend on it, like time-wise. I'm doing horrible at it. But all the negativity, I try to funnel that out completely. Like, I don't care if you have a comment about the president. I don't care. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, your opinion doesn't matter to me. I don't want to see it. Like, the country and everything else of what people are going to do, they're going to do it anyway. You want to change the world, you want to change things, start by talking to the person beside you.
Amen to that.
Express your ideas, your ideals for, like, what you believe. But don't see them as, like, the villain. Don't be competitive. Like, it's really not that hard. Like, I have way, like, off, like, whatever views of politics. Like, shit would probably get me in trouble, like, and canceled. But, like, it's crazy when you can have someone express their opinion to me, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But not that I'm in fear of expressing my opinion. I just know that expressing my opinion on something just isn't the case. Like, it's not necessary.
Right.
And it's only going to do me more harm than good. But you know what? You want to talk to me about things in person, and we can, like, I can read your body language, and I can see, like, oh, you know what? You're starting to fume. Hey, hold on. Let me explain a little bit better. Like, maybe I'm not explaining it correctly.
Right.
Like, maybe whatever. Like, there's just so much stuff. But when you have people who are pinned against each other and this, and I don't want to deal with it. So I just literally hit unfollow, unfriend, whatever. Just get it out of my feed. I don't want to see it. I already got enough negative thoughts. I don't need any more.
I was going to say, because I think a lot of people would have the propensity to think that if you write metal and you've wrote an album called Desolate Dreams, that you must sit around in a room with the windows painted black and watch horror movies all day. You know what I mean?
I actually don't really like horror movies. My wife, however, does. I think that whole... everything about metal, I think, gets the bad rap. But it's been more public now with, Gojira and Poppy and Knocked Loose on Jimmy Kimmel and, like, stuff like that. So I think it's starting to make a resurgence, especially when you have, like, all the TikTok kids who have nowhere to go. Like the iPad kids, where are they supposed to be? Like, the next generation of generations, like, they need some sort of outlet, and so they have this aggression in them and this anxiety and all these things that are going on in their head, and they have no way of being able to express it because, one, how are they going to find out when you have, like, these algorithms that are just, like, straight up just... Here's trash. Here's more brain rot.
Yeah.
Here, we saw you click on a toad once. Here's a bunch of videos of toads.
Yeah.
Like, you're just fed this constant state of shit, and it's an endless loop.
That's narrowing you down.
narrowing you down to the micro thing. You stay on there for 0.7 more of a second, I'm gonna show you this more. You know, or you get sent a video and it's a negative video, so then you start getting shared all this stuff, or even all the thirst traps that are online. Oh my God. Like every freaking girl on Instagram with an OnlyFans, like more than 50% of them, I swear, like have a link.
I'm a fitness model, but only my hands.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you're getting to the point where let's get to the point where spiritual chaos starts to become a thing. How do you give yourself permission to say, you know what, I'm doing this again? It's been 10 odd years. I've listened to the poking in my head enough to scream in the car, but we got to do more than this.
So I think around that time, my wife and I had went to our neighborhood Walmart, and my guitarist Anthony either was working there, works there now still, whatever, but he was working. And I was wearing a band shirt of Arch Enemy, and he saw my shirt and started flipping his shit. He was like, "Oh my God!" Like, so he's on the spectrum, right? And he's like super talented and super hyper focused in the things that he is like passionate about, and obviously music and guitars. So he saw my shirt, my wife and I walking by, and I just thought he was a weird dude. Like, all right, man, like I'm wearing an Arch Enemy shirt. It's okay. Yeah. Calm down, right? But that was, I think that was around COVID time. So he doesn't say anything to me because we exchanged information to like, hey, I'm a vocalist, metal vocals, and he plays guitar. Okay, we'll figure something out in the future.
Yeah.
And that didn't go anywhere for like 2 years. So like I met the kid, ran to him like twice, and then nothing happened. And I say kid because all my guys in my band are younger than me. And they're like 26, 24, or whatever. I'm 30.
That's a flattering term.
Yeah, I'm 34. So...
you're lucky when you can still be called kid.
I know, right?
Take it when you can. Don't be offended.
But so eventually we this is what's really cool about this whole like really cool idea of how things just like work sometimes. Like the universe has a really fucked up way of fucking with you, but in a way that you'll appreciate. So one of my favorite bands, All That Remains, was touring on, I think it was either the 15th year anniversary or 12th year or something like that anniversary of the Fall of Ideals album, and I ended up running into my now guitarist and his our previous bandmate at the time, but you know none of us know it. So they were working together and they were like, we need a vocalist. I'm like, bet, like I'm here. Like I've been trying to get at you like 2 years now, bro. Like I want to do something, and eventually we all got together, started covering songs. We did 2 Scar Cemetery songs, and we just decided to write and all this other stuff, and we did that for about 1.5 years of just practice. So you're talking about dedication to not even playing a show yet. We were 1.5 years of just practicing every Friday night for 1.5 years.
Smart.
Yeah, and that's where like I started getting really good at vocals, like for like everything, and for where I was then, I'm a lot better now. But especially playing live shows and just doing this even more and practicing. But
staying dedicated.
Yeah, it really is. Like I wouldn't even call it. I don't know if it's like ADHD or anything like that, but like I have a hyper fixation of being obsessed with certain things that I'm doing at that moment. So like, for example, I had a reselling business I was doing on eBay for a while, super hyper-focused. And then same thing with music and vocals and this. And so once I started noticing like, oh shit, this could be a thing, like this can actually be a thing, the thing that I've wanted for more than a decade now, 15 years, like I'm going to give it my all. And like, not that this would be my last rodeo, but I'm going to act as if it is. You know, like spiritual chaos is the thing.
Well, it was at least a sign of a new level of effort and a refined level of focus.
I mean, I had 4 other individuals, or 5, or no, 3 now, but I had that many more people who were just as dedicated to practicing every single week. All right, cool. I got people behind me now. And there was no like, I started the band. Like it was like a mutual like coming together where it was like, all right, well, who's starting the band or whatever? Like we just all came together wanting to play music and see where it went.
Yeah.
And eventually it became to me now sitting on Keep the Hotel Empty, you know? Like
So when you're having these first practices, how are you handling, you know, I mean, a lot of bands start off playing covers. Talk to me about how you're starting to handle when you're what the first becomes spiritual chaos. When do you dub yourself spiritual chaos? When do you write the first song and be like, yo, this is our song? You know what I mean?
So we never played and have never played any cover songs. Like in a live setting.
Yeah.
We only started playing those songs just to
Get playing in the room.
Yeah, to get playing together. Then Anthony, who is the lead guitarist of Spiritual Chaos, he had all this material, and we started like really getting together about things, and he has his inspirations and they have their inspirations. And I was like, well, I mean, as an avid music listener for the last, I don't know, 20 plus years, like I think I understand a thing or two about like why somebody would listen to a song. And I'm not a musician, so you're the one who has to try to sell me why the song is good. You know what I mean? And so I would help Anthony and the other guys, like, not that they're not fantastic musicians, they are. And everyone gets their own word. I don't want to make it seem like it's just Josh's show.
No, and it's about being greater than the sum of your parts, and
For
that's
sure.
the role you can serve.
Yeah, exactly. But we had like a meeting of like, hey, who's going to take charge on doing this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do this?
Right.
And we all felt as far as like, you're really good at doing this. You're really good at doing this. I'm really good at doing this. And everybody's got their delegated parts or whatever. Like, this is how it's going to operate. And thus far, we've pretty good. We're about, it's crazy to think that we are only public as of 2 years next month. Like a year and a half of work before us even announcing our very first song, which was Beyond Language, to then 2 years later to where we're at now, where it's just like, oh, you're Josh from Spiritual Chaos, aren't you? What? It's so weird still.
I seen that guy do a bear video.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that thing took off. Those people are ridiculous.
So let's touch on that for a little bit, and then we get you out of here on something fun. Talk to me a little bit about doing the videos that you do, because I know that's helped. Of course, it helps the band a ton.
Oh, for sure.
And when you have, explain to me a little bit, tell the story a little bit about how the random bear goes as big as it does. Because you already have a fair few people that watch your vocal covers. That maybe aren't
sure.
even into the band, but want to see you do the damn thing, you know?
No, it's cool to see the progress too, because other people see it. Like I have people from work who are also into metal or whatever, and they go, Josh, you progressed. Oh, that was a really good idea what you did. The Tiny Terrible thing. Like, that was genius marketing. And like your Lorna Shore cover, that was really good. Like, and that stuff. But that bear video, I think I woke up, it was like 9:05 in the morning. And I was like, I want to make a video of just how to sound like a bear. I literally woke up with the idea, like just being like, how do I describe how to do this? And so I did the video, and I did it in one fell. I mean, it sucks because like I'm stuttering over my words now, but in a video I don't. You know what I mean? Because like I have the ability of being able to edit all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I did like 3 different videos, and I went with my gut on the first one. And it was just, you want to sound like a bear, and then all of a sudden I make the noise, and then most people go, what? And I think that's why it did so well, is because literally in like 2 seconds, you want to sound like a bear.
Yeah.
And like, they go, what the fuck? And it's not like it's from an iPhone. You know, the audio's from an iPhone. It's not like I'm not manipulating it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Then I go into explaining how to do it. And so over 720,000 views, the average watch time is 28 seconds. Insane. It's a 1 minute and 6 second video. To get anybody's retention for that long is insane, especially on the social media that we are now. Yeah. But that video did so stupidly well. And all the other videos, they do decent. They have done decent, but not to the level of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's always the sillier videos that I think, because you go on your phone to escape your life, you know? Like, it's not only habitual, but like you go on there to try to get away from the life stress. So you go on there, you pull up, all of a sudden you see, you want to sound like a bear. What the fuck is this? And then like...
And then he does it. Then he does sound like a bear.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Whoa, it does what it says on the box?
Yeah, so that was really cool. And day one, I was like, sweet, it's got like 400 likes. This is insane. It's like one of my most liked videos. Aside from like the collaboration, or rather the the contest I won with All That Remains, because I entered a vocal contest and ended up winning that. And then I did something else for a vocal video, which was with Butcher Babes, or Butcher Babies or whatever. And so like these videos, 40,000 on one of them, 17, 18,000 on another, which is awesome. But those are also collaborative videos. This wasn't my own video. So then I go and I see my own video has 400 likes, and I had 1,400 followers at the time. I'm at like almost 9,000 now, which is in a span of a month and a half insane to me.
Yeah,
like
right.
I'm a 5'5" on like on my best day, you know, maybe 5'6" with these boots, right? And like I'm nobody of like super importance or anything like that. I'm just me, you know. It's not like I know the secret code to life or any of that kind of shit. And then for all of a sudden, like a regular dude to go, wait, what? And like my friends are laughing at it. Like people who don't listen to metal go, this is insane. What? And I even have like other people. So, I become friends with a lot of people in the scene and everything else, and I become friends with some of the bands that I admire, like a band called Currents. And I showed their bassist, Christian, my video because he asked me what was going on or, you know, what I've been up to and stuff. I was like, well, I had a video go viral, and at this point, it was like 600,000 views. And then I showed it to him, and he's like, and you're talking about an internationally touring band.
Right.
And the guy's like, how the fuck did you do that? You know, so like, real recognize real, talent recognize talent, you know, like, and I think eventually we'll get our moment in time when we put in enough work, because the more work you put in, the more opportunity you create, the more of an opportunity you have to get lucky.
Facts. That's preparation meeting coincidence or whatever it is.
That's exactly it.
But let me ask you this, because this kind of begs the question, and I can't remember who else I was watching. I think it was another metal band, actually. I was watching an interview with them, and they were talking about how they were couching it, the word have to, make like meme-type content.
Oh, yeah, I refuse.
Yeah.
I told my guys already, I am not lip syncing. I'm not doing these stupid videos. Listen, it works for others. It ain't me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stick true to who I am, because I think that's my selling point.
And I couldn't agree more. But do you find it strange, or do you get, is it disheartening or encouraging, or what's the emotion you get when it's like you wake up with the bear video, random as hell, after this whole long road you've traveled, and that one explodes? Is there part of you that's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, there is absolutely a part of me that goes that, but like at least I was being genuinely myself when that happened.
Oh, facts.
You know what I mean? Like
I
didn't go with the purpose and being like, let me try to trigger the algorithm today.
Yeah.
Right? Like
No.
I was just like genuinely like, hey, you know what? I think it'd be really cool if I showed like how I do some of my vocals. And one of those vocals happens to be a bear growl, which is something I learned from another video online, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like the type who's going to gatekeep people or whatever. Like, I'm going to offer the information and whatever. Like, you do with it as you wish. I think it's a dumb idea to gatekeep, because then you look like an ass, like honestly. And like if you're good at what you do anyway, people are still gonna come to you and they're gonna want your services. Like there's plenty of vocalists out there and even educators who do now teach these screaming things, right? Like there's several of them out there now versus when I was trying to do it. But there's several vocalists out there who showcase how to do these things, and they still get hit up for lessons, because you will never defeat the one-on-one experience. You can do a tutorial, but like you're not getting the hands-on, like this is what we're doing. Oh, you need to do it from here, especially in person, because then you can really like feel around like, oh no, you're doing it incorrectly. Like this is where you should be doing, or this is where you should be doing, or like you're in here now, you're in your ears, like all that kind of stuff. And so I think, and you see a lot of like the social media things too, where they are selling on stuff, and then that's where they're going. Like they give the information free to bring you in. But when this goes to the whole point, when you add value to people, you add value to others, they then in turn add value back to you. And so I feel that's the same way, especially when it comes to like social media and stuff like that too.
So that's the way you can maintain your morality, comfortability. That's the ethos that allows you to still market in the shit show that is.
If I could just, I also feel like what I did was different. You know, like everyone is so used to seeing like lip sync videos or this or that or whatever. Guess what? I'm not fucking doing it. And I'm going to find a really creative way, because I'm a creative person, and so are my guys, to figure out a way and means of being able to market something that maybe those people, maybe we get stolen from, you know? Maybe it's like, oh, they had a really good idea, and then now all of a sudden that idea blows up because it was my idea or whatever. But like, you know, you'll have your gatekeepers in a sense, being like, well, these guys did it first or whatever. But I just feel like the more genuine you are to who you are, and to know yourself too, which is a weird thing because not a lot of people will ever understand themselves, and that's why alcoholism and drug abuse and all these other
it's a scary
things.
endeavor.
Yeah, and so you have all that to go in, but like I'm just not going to do what I don't agree with, which is that kind of like will make me content for sure. In fact, we might make a video where it's like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that, but it'll be funny, you know. But I'm not gonna sell my soul to like try to appease the algorithmic gods.
Yeah, it's all but impossible, anyways.
Yeah, it changes all the time. So what's the point?
So that actually led me one more question I want to ask you before my fun question. You did have a Spiritual Chaos video that did quite well pretty quickly, and that was a collaboration. Talk to me a little bit about that song and that video. Side note, I really dug that one.
Awesome.
I was in on the push of that in the beginning.
Hell yeah. So I'm a huge and firm believer in that if you can do things yourself, do it. Like if you're creative enough, if you feel that you can do it, do it. And the reason I'm saying that is because with that music video and with that song, I had the idea when I was writing the lyrics for Desolate Dreams, because it has to do with, you know, not really liking yourself and having to overcome the demons that you face with daily. You look in the mirror and you go, I fucking hate you. Like, that's the person I hate right now. And it's hard to overcome that, and it's hard to love yourself. You can love others, and this is where Jordan Peterson comes in too, where it's like treat yourself like as if you are treating a loved one, right? Like you need to be treating yourself that way. You need to be treating yourself as if you are your son. Like you would love your son or your daughter or your significant other in a way. Love yourself that way too. It's easier said than done, obviously.
Right.
It's a lot harder than it is, but
being human's hard.
It is. It's a crazy experience, and so I decided that at that point with the song Disconnect. It is literally a song about being so disconnected from yourself that you don't see the value that you bring to other people in your life. Well, I can't sing that I can't sing that part of the person who's the victim in this. So, I mean, you would both be victims because you would be gone from the world and you would be leaving those people behind.
Right.
So I needed somebody who was going to be the person who is the person who was left behind or whatever, right? And I remember 2 a.m., Anytime Fitness, I was listening to music and I was looking up. I just started like scrolling around, and this was probably a year before, maybe a few months before we decided to start recording Desolate Dreams, where I found this band called, it was Rivers at the time, now Riveria. And I remember finding them and being like, holy shit, they're good. They are really good, and she's insanely talented. And I was thinking about other vocalists who are like bigger in the scene. I was thinking about hitting up like one of the girls from Not Enough Space, or at the time it was Stone Mary. And I was thinking about like some other ones because it needed to be someone with a female voice. It needed to be a feminine voice. And because essentially I was writing that song as a, hey, this is what I would do to my lover if I were to, because like I don't know, like. I begin to imagine the words I leave behind for you if you only knew. Like, that's the beginning of the song. And so, as you lie asleep, you know, whatever. But, like, I was talking about my significant other, and I needed somebody who could do that voice. Anyway, so I found them, or I found her specifically, and she's become a very good friend of mine, and is so insanely talented, and, like, nobody knows them. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, beautiful
and they're
voice.
going to. And I even put the guys in Fiends on them. And they just played with them. And like, holy shit, these guys are so good. And by the way, this is a mere coincidence, I swear.
Yeah, total coincidence.
But so I just through the scene and networking and everything else, eventually got to talking to them, meeting them. And then like, I was just like, you're the fit. Like, how would you like to do this? She was like, I'd be honored. It'd be great. It'd be awesome. And so at the time, because usually when you're getting a feature, it's from somebody you know. Right? Like, but like a band that's bigger. The whole point of a feature is sort of to gain the attention of people onto you. But you have a band that nobody knows featuring another band that nobody knows. So what's the deal? And it is different. It is weird. But like at the end of the day, the art called for what it wanted. And like she was the voice that fit, and she can sing, she can scream. She is so good. And we're actually, because of all of this and all the networking and everything else that we've done, we're going on tour together in July. So we're going to be hitting up Jacksonville, Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's Spartanburg, South Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina, one of the two Carolina. I'm getting those mixed up. And then we're doing Richmond, Virginia. But
Very
we're
cool.
touring with Riveria.
Yeah.
And another band in Atlanta called Nova Mora. And I'm just super excited for it because like everyone's music is amazing. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, but to
And
find
you'll get to go to
band-
Richmond.
I'm excited for it. But to be able to find a band like that and bring them in and then just be that good and me just raving about them and every single person, every single time, without a doubt, they're just like, holy shit, you were right. Yep, I know.
So did you track the song with her, or did you track the song and then add her?
No, so both. So at the time of me asking, we hadn't recorded the song yet.
Okay.
So we had her come in, and so it wasn't just the part that she sung on, but it was also Travis who came in, who's the guitarist, who we got together and really were like, hey, would this harmony work with this? Because she wanted to add a bunch of harmonies, and I wasn't opposed. Like, I'm very much so about like, let's take all the creativity and let's boil down to what suits what best.
Yep.
And because if you dismiss it, then it's like,
You didn't even give it a chance.
yeah, you didn't even give it a chance. It might be the best thing. You don't even know. Some of the coolest parts are parts that people didn't even think were going to be.
Or hated at first.
Or hated, exactly. Like Knock Loose. Arf, arf.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, it's those little cool parts too. And yeah.
So
That's
you
pretty much it.
start building the song with her, then you do the video right away. Was when you got the song done where you're like, this has to have a video too? I mean, was this one just, this had to be seen further than that?
I've always had the intention of having videos to pretty much all of our songs because I feel like the video content is necessary. You have different social media platforms for different reasons. And so YouTube is in itself its own beast. People go to YouTube. I've seen it. It's of my generation, 25 to 30 plus year olds or whatever, go to YouTube, watch a music video. They don't even watch it. They just play it. And the music video plays. But people will peek at it every once in a while, whatever. But that video did really, really well. And that was because of the YouTube algorithm. I think it was also because of the thumbnail we chose, which I went to Nadine with, who's the vocalist of Riveria. And I was like, Nadine, what do you think about this, or this? Because I was thinking about using her as clickbait because, come on now. Ain't nobody clicking a dude. Like,
Yeah.
She was like, I love this one. This is so cool. And it just happens to be like the most craziest shot. We had my wife film it. I did all the video editing on that video.
Nice.
I done all of our music videos actually.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have you back and talk video and photo.
For sure. I'm 100% about it because that's a whole beast in itself, which I only
Exactly.
started like a year plus ago. So it hasn't been like that long I've been doing it. But like I think when you're creative in any realm, you're always going to be creative in any of those aspects. So you can be given all these weird tools and you just start fucking around with stuff, and then all of a sudden you created something cool.
Yeah, I have a saying for that. I tell people, and you can feel free to adopt if you want. I think it's that good.
I might have to.
I have no problem with creative outlets. My problem is I just keep creating them. That's how I end up with a zillion projects. That's how we ended up here.
Yeah, no, this is cool, and I know you're approaching episode 100 soon.
Yes, sir.
Right? I think you were like 86 or whatever.
Yeah, yep.
That's
yep.
really cool, man.
Yep, this summer we're having the SummerSlam 100th episode celebration, and then we'll do the family jam in fall. So that's our little bit of shameless self-promotion
No,
there.
please go right ahead. Thank you.
But let's get you out of here on something fun on the collaborative
Yes.
tip, because that is such a thing, especially coming from the old rap world. They wrote the book on that. So if you could right now, I know you've met Randy. I know you won the.
Oh, and I got. Oh, you do know? Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I know you met Randy.
that was wild. Like I've met so many of my idols. Like it's insane. Cleaning the beach with Randy Blythe, winning the vocal contest, Phil Labonte, and I met him several times. I took pictures of Dark Tranquility. Like it's just insane. It is literally insane.
And Randy's like one of the sweetest dudes on earth. Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone I know who has ever crossed any amount of path with that guy,
Yeah.
just that's the resounding thing.
It is so cool. My wife and I have started attending this Headbangers boat, and well, long story short, I got proposed to her year before, got married, and then we celebrate our honeymoon on the second year.
Nice.
And so Randy Blythe and his girlfriend are in the middle of the dance party on the last night. It's Halloween. And he takes off his costume. They both take off their costumes. I see and I catch it from my peripheral. And I'm like, they're throwing it out into the audience. Like, I already read it. So then I ended up catching Randy Blythe's costume. So I plan on doing a vocal cover of Lamb of God in his previous costume
Hell yeah.
as a
tribute homage.
Converse. He was in a costume as a Converse shoe.
Oh, nice.
But the collaboration question.
Oh, so this is your fun question to get out of here.
Okay.
What was your dream collaboration? Would you see yourself sitting with a band? Would you bring someone in with you? If you could sculpt the dream collab, I don't care, living, dead, fantasy world, what's your dream collab as of right now today?
As far as creating like a song?
Anything.
Or just anything?
I don't care if you want to make a song and a video. If you could have one creative entity to bring into your realm and see what you could sausage maker out, who's that entity?
Man, that's a great question. I feel like it would have to be a song that was our song that I wrote or that we wrote, and we would have to have guest featured one of our favorite vocalists. Like, and it would have to, honestly, Phil Labonte. Like, it's tough because you have two of my favorite vocalists ever, and if anything, both of them on the same track.
Yeah,
which is Anders from In Flames and Phil Labonte, All That Remains. I would
Hey,
have
it's your
both
fun
of them.
question.
Okay, my fun question.
And I
then
don't write rules.
All right, well, I'm having both of them on the track. Like, I don't know where they would fit, but they would, and they would harmonize, and they would do this or that. We would create something really, really cool because like you have the mellow death side of everything with In Flames, and then you have like the metalcore side and the brutality of what All That Remains can be. And I mean, I love all their stuff. I know they get a lot of grief and of all the radio kind of friendly stuff, but I love all their music. I don't think they necessarily made a bad album. Some are better than others, but
Everyone can say that.
oh, for sure. I mean, I'm not like super in love with all of our music right now. In fact, I think at the moment we're still growing. 2 years in a band is nothing. Like I ask oftentimes, and I know I'm whatever, but like I ask oftentimes the bands that are like that are big and touring. I'm like, at what point did you guys start seeing like this starting to develop as a thing, like sustainable? Like, where did you guys get your blow up from? And it's usually like 6-7 years in. Then they like, so we're on year 2. That's nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme of things. But collaboration, if I had to, like as far as it would be a song, and it would be both featured, Phil Labonte and Anders.
Well, hell yeah, man. I think we can crystal ball, try to will that one into the universe.
That would be sick because it could very well be possible, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I know All That Remains isn't on a record label anymore, and they can do whatever the hell they want, and
Yay
a lot
to
of
the new
musicians
era
are
of that
taking their
stuff.
own music, like they own it again, you know?
Yep.
And you don't necessarily need those things. So, but yeah, I think that's probably a good spot to leave it, right?
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come down.
You for
I really appreciate the conversation. You're Kay the family now, like it or not. And we're gonna have you back and do a photo video talk too.
For sure. Because that's a whole world in itself.
Yeah.
I literally just messaged Kyle from Brand of Sacrifice, and I'm able to take pictures of them this Friday.
Shit, yeah.
And yeah, that oh my God, it's so. I wish I had more time.
Well, we're gonna do round 2, man. No
All right,
doubt
cool,
about it.
cool,
And
cool.
we're gonna have to get Spiritual Chaos out into.
Yeah, I want the guys here.
Yeah.
It'd be really fun.
Hell yeah.
They just didn't have the time today.
Yeah, well, and one-on-one work sometimes a little bit easier too.
For sure.
Maybe, hey, you know what we do? We do album deep dives. Or when you do your next single, if you want to come back and hash out a song, top to bottom, bring the boys, doors always open for that.
That sounds like a brilliant idea. I would absolutely love to do that.
Hell yeah. Well, much appreciated,
Yes,
brother.
no.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Shit, yeah.